Hello dear students. So today the topic we are going to discuss is what is theory by Jonathan Culler. Now what is theory? So theory is a very popular word nowadays, especially in literary and cultural studies. Yes or no? When I taught you Plato and Aristotle, that is the beginnings of theory, I asked you this question, what is theory? Right? I hope you all remember. Now, theory has radically changed the nature of literary studies. When we hear the word theory, a bunch of names immediately comes to our mind. Names of theorists like Jacques Derrida, Michel Foucault, Louis Althusser, Gayatri Spivak, etc. Now, the question is, what is theory? Now, this is a particular question which Jonathan Culler seeks to, answer. Okay, at the very beginning he says that theory can be a speculation, an explanation. But when we say theory is a speculation or an explanation, then the truth or falsity of that theory might be hard to demonstrate. So when we speculate something, we cannot say that, or when we explain something, we cannot say that that particular speculation or explanation is the truth. So if there is no truth, then we have to say that theory is much more than a speculation or an assumption. As a genre, I hope you know that novel is a genre, poetry is a genre. So as a genre, theory is a body of thinking and writing and whose limits are exceedingly hard to define. So you cannot set any boundaries that, yes, this is the particular boundary of theory and within this boundary, theory operates. It is very difficult actually to set, particular limitations or boundaries of theory. Now, Richard Rorty, he's a famous philosopher, and he states that beginning in the days of Goethe and Macaulay and Carlyle and Emerson, a new kind of writing has developed, which is neither the evaluation of the relative merits of literary production or intellectual history, nor moral philosophy, nor social philosophy, but all of this mingled together in a new genre. So this definition roughly corresponds to the definition of theory. So that means theory cannot be said to be a literary production, nor an intellectual history, nor it is a moral or a social philosophy. Rather, it is the mingling together of all these, and all this comes together and brings in the birth of a new genre, and this genre can be stated as theory. So, but this definition, however, does not capture the happenings in literary studies in 1960s. So, there was a revolution in literary studies during the 1960s. And in that revolution, we see that the intellectuals or writers of literary studies have not confined their discussion only to literary topics. In fact, they have included other non-literary topics like that of anthropology, art, history, philosophy, psychology, political theory, gender studies, film studies, linguistics, social science, etc. So all these are included in the genre of theory. So we cannot say that Richard Rorty's definition justifies the definition of theory, because theory not only encompasses within its study literary studies but also non-literary studies. Now, what is the effect of theory? I mean, what does theory do? Now, theory criticizes common sense notions. It attempts to show that things or ideas or knowledge that we take for granted as natural is in fact a historical construct. So what comes to us as natural or universal is in fact a historical construct, and that is shown through theory. So therefore, theory makes us explore alternative conceptions of anything that we take as granted. So it makes us think, rethink, okay, revisit before, accepting any idea or body of knowledge as natural or universal, or in that sense, truth. Now, Jonathan Culler talks about Michel Foucault, especially about his history, about his book, The History of Sexuality. And in that book, Foucault talks about repressive hypothesis. Now, what is repressive hypothesis? Now, repressive hypothesis means that how the power structures has repressed sex for the past 100 years, because of which it has been silenced and confined to only reproductive purposes. So when we talk about sex, we only talk about the fact that sex leads to, birth of child. It is only a reproductive process or purpose. It fulfills the reproductive purposes. And in this sense, we see that as a term, sex is in fact a complex idea, okay, which was produced by a range of social practices, investigations, talk and writing discourses or discursive practices of doctors, moralists, novelists, public, clergy, public officials, etc. So basically, here we says that the definition of sex was only limited to a particular area, that the fact that sex is only related to or confined to reproductive purposes. But sex as a term is actually a very complex idea. It includes things which are not only related or confined to reproductive purposes. However, in the modern age, we see that the term got liberated. The term, the repressed term of sex, which was confined only to reproductive purposes, got liberated in the modern age. Sex was seen as a key source for the creation of one's identity. Yes or no? So, one's identity is related to one's sex. Male sex, female sex. You are male or a female, your identity is related to sex. So, sex can not only be seen as fulfilling the reproductive purpose. Now, this this shift actually began when homosexuality was seen as a new species rather than as a stigma. Okay, so initially before the modern age, homosexuality was seen as a stigma, a taboo. But now, with the dawning of modern age, homosexuality was seen as a new species. Now, Foucault's analysis on sex shows how discourses are formed and are claimed to be universal, while it is none other than a historical construction. I've already talked to you about power and knowledge, Michel Foucault's, concept of discourse, that power plus knowledge leads to the creation of discourse, that is a body of thought which is circulated to us from one generation to another in such a way that we accept them as natural or as universal. Okay, while on the contrary, it is none other than a historical construction. So, theory enables us to explore alternative conceptions of discourses, knowledge which we take as natural. Is it clear till here? So today I have concentrated my discussion till here. If you have any doubts, any suggestions, please revert back, place your questions and I'll answer them. So we'll continue with the discussion in the next video. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.